20s is that life is literally all about perspective. Everything that happens in our lives, we attach a label of good or bad. And most of the time they're just experiences, and they're not good nor bad, they just are. I've had this realization lately just because I got the news that I am being laid off from my job. Thankfully, they gave me a good amount of time to find something different. And I could have easily been upset by this because my job allowed me to have such freedom working from home. But at the same time, I wasn't passionate about it. And making content is something I've always been passionate about. I just have never really given it my all. And if this doesn't work out the way that I would hope, then at least I can say that I had the guts to try. I have wanted this literally my whole life. That's all I've wanted to be, was a fashion influencer. Maybe that's not in the cards for me. Maybe that's not what God has for me. And if it isn't, then I know He'll redirect me into whatever it is that I'm going to do. And I think just having that perspective on things helps you kind of relax and just release control. And that helps the things that are meant for you find you. As someone with anxiety, giving up control was one of the hardest things that I had to do in my life. When I first got the news that I was going to get laid off, I applied to just as many positions as I could. They weren't even positions that I wanted. And I had an interview just the other day that I really knew I didn't want the position, but I was thinking to myself, can I really afford to pass this up? I was talking to my family about it, and they were like, no, Sidney, you can be picky. I can tell you're not excited about this position, so tell them that, you don't want to pursue this position. You know what you want deep down, and sometimes you'll block that because maybe you don't think you're good enough to have that. I've never really asked for what it is that I truly want. And now I'm just in such a better place in my life that I can ask for the things that I truly want. And that's something that's just so freeing. Well, you don't have to act like you don't want that anymore, because you're not afraid if you get turned down, because you know that you tried your hardest. I was thinking about this quote last night from Denzel Washington. He said, "My fear isn't aiming too high and missing, it's aiming too low and hitting." And I don't know why that just came to my mind, but I was like, that is so true. Like, my whole life I've been aiming so low and hitting those things, and then I've been unhappy in those positions a few years later. Content creation and fashion is something that I've just really put on the back burner of my mind for so many years. And that's the thing about God and the Holy Spirit, those little nudges and tugs that you feel at your heart, trying to redirect you into something, or that passion that you've always had for so long, but you don't know why. That's God speaking to you and trying to point you in the direction of your goals and dreams. And maybe those goals and dreams will look a little bit different, but you have to trust that God has a plan for you, and His plan is always better than our plans for ourselves. And don't get discouraged when something is taking longer than you would like. God's timing is usually not aligned with our timing. We tend to be very impatient about things. Just speaking from experience, I am naturally a very impatient person, and I want things now, and that's not how God works. He uses the waiting for a reason. Usually He's teaching you to have a grateful heart, so that way when you do get those things, you don't take them for granted. So if you're going through a tough time right now, or a tough situation, and you just can't see how this is God's plan for you, even when you can't see Him, He's always working. He hasn't forgotten about you. He has a plan for your life. But just going back to my main point, if you have the perspective that God is always working and things are always working out in your favor, then you'll have that confidence to carry through and carry out what you want to do. Don't let your situation corrupt your mindset and your thinking. If you think positively about a situation, then you're more likely to have a positive outcome. Just know that I believe in you and God believes in you. If you have God, you have everything that you need. Don't get discouraged. Go after what you want, and God will do the rest.